Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin, and recently I've been doing a lot of arenas. I can talk for years about how much I like playing Outlaw Rogue, but instead I just wanted to give you guys some tips of some of the things that I learned as a rogue in arenas. And I've got a little bit of play as Assassination. I got a little bit of play as Subtlety, just a little bit, but mostly Outlaw. But I'm also an observer. I like to watch what other people do and learn from their mistakes and their victories. And one of the things I like to do is watch other rogues play, be they Subtlety, Outlaw, Assassination, and learn a thing or two from them. And that's probably the most fun that I have. Whether it's other streamers, watching them play, or whether it's me facing off against other rogues or with other rogues and learning a thing or two. Anyway, I just wanted to put a list together of some of the tips that I have for you guys based on your specialization. So, whatever spec you are, Assassination, Subtlety, or Outlaw, you should be able to benefit from this video. So the first spec, which is very easy to talk about, because I feel like I know this playstyle fairly well, is a spec for Assassination. So, what is the goal for Assassination? The goal is simple. Train your target down. Focus on lining up all of your damage on a single target. A lot like what a combat rogue used to do back in Warlords of Draenor. There's not that much CC for an Assassination rogue. You don't have capability of a blind or a gouge, or even that many kidneys or cheap shots or easy access to those abilities. So all you can do really is train a single target, so focus on CCing that one singular target. Except you should be step kicking. Make sure to use shadow step kicks on healers or casters in order to prevent some of the CC or damage or healing whenever needed. But that's all situational. Maintain your dots as Assassination. Just maintain your dots on the target. Maintain the best ruptures, maintain 5 common point, kidneys, maintain all the damage you need. And be sure to watch out for those garrotes because they are stronger once you use them in stealth compared to out of stealth. So sometimes you might want to vanish just for the damage increases. And the best way to use your artifact weapon alongside is your stuns. So the artifact weapon itself is a dot that you put on an enemy. It's a poison dot, but also deals poison damage once you use it on the press of a button. And so the best way to use it is with your stun lineups. So whenever you line up for a stun on an enemy, and you're trying to line up a kidney in there, and you have all your dots rolling, throw in your artifact weapon as well. And trust me, you'll be seeing some massive damage and pressure from your enemies. Playing with a class that has CC or ways of breaking CC is probably the best thing for you to do. So playing with a paladin or mage in arenas is usually your best choice, as paladins help you get out of CC and mages will bring the needed CC in order to give you a chance to score a kill. As Assassination rogues, you guys should probably have the easiest time because all you have to do is train a singular target. There is a little bit of mechanics of how to use garrotes properly and when to use garrotes to CC enemies and maybe like vanish to triple garrote an enemy, which is all something you will learn, but those are the basic strats for Assassination in arenas. Now I want to talk a little bit about Subtlety, and I feel like if you played Subtlety during Warlords or Draenor at any moment, and if you play at arenas and you know the whole CC based playstyle, then this will actually feel pretty familiar to you, plus with a little bit of teleportation. So as a Subtlety rogue, you should be using cheap shots to line up kills on a target, and use kidneys to CC targets you're not trying to kill. Because you have so much access to CC, and probably some of the best access to CC at a moment's notice, you can use your kidney in order to stun a target you're trying not to kill, but a target you're trying to CC. And you can use the cheap shots on the target you're trying to kill, simply because your access to Shadow Dance and access to Stealth is fairly accessible, fairly easy to access is the best way to put it. Be sure to be using that kidney in order to either peel for your friendlies away from a DPS if required, but for the most part it is to be used on a healer or another target in order to line up cross CC, which you'll be doing a lot as a Subtlety rogue. You should be doing setups about every 30 seconds or so where you should be lining up CC and then setting up burst, and you should be rotating with your friendly targets, whether they're mages or warlocks or shadow priests or whatever class that your friendly is playing. Maintaining your dot of NIGHTBLADE is your main concern when you are not bursting, and being able to set up that dot on more than one DPS is helpful when your team isn't going for CC setups, as you do slow the enemy and provide pressure on more than one target. Try to use Finality to line up a stronger setup. What I mean by that is it's an artifact trait where once you use a NIGHTBLADE, your next NIGHTBLADE is going to be stronger by a percentage. When you use an Eviscerate, then your next Eviscerate is going to be stronger by a certain percentage as well. So when you're able to use an Eviscerate before you burst and use a Nightblade before you set up, and then use Nightblade for the burst, and then you burst with a stronger Eviscerate, then you have just overall a more manageable and just much stronger burst capability. So be able to use your Finality and be able to watch out for it is the key to playing Subtlety Rogue effectively. Utilize your mobility to be everywhere at once. Your mobility of Shadow Step Kick targets can be used once in a while, but you can use Shadow Strike Kick in order to get to an enemy at a cost of 40 energy, which is still viable. And yes, you might not be using Shadow Strike on the kill target, but if let's say your Shadow Step is down and you have the kick available, you can Shadow Strike and kick the target at the same time. So take the advantage of enemy's position and use their positioning in order to get around the arena. Use your mobility whenever you need to, and feel free to be all over the place controlling multiple different targets at once. Don't burst willy-nilly either. Wait for other classes to set up the burst together. I feel like Subtlety Burst is pretty good, but it's a combination of burst and CC. So because it's a combination of burst and CC, you really do need to get combined burst from other players as well, whether they're playing mages, warlocks, or whatever class they're playing. And I feel like the best classes to play with Subtlety are, for the most part, casters, like mages or priests, but can be played with a variety of DPS for a variety of melee cleave potential. Now lastly we have Outlaw Rogue, which I feel I have the best outlook on, so this one might be a little bit long, but I'll try to make it not long-winded. When you're thinking Outlaw, think of a warrior, which is a weird way to think about it because it's a completely another class, but warriors for arenas use their stuns to CC their targets. Not the kill targets, but rather like a healer or some kind. And with a given range of your stuns for CC, keep an open mind on who you're stunning, whether it is your target for the kill or the healer. Also, like a Subtlety Rogue, you should be doing a lot of setups. Technically every 30 seconds should be done with a stun, whether you're using it to CC the kill target or CC healers, which you'll have to rotate with everybody else in your group. And during downtime, it is a really good idea to shuffle around your Roll the Bones buffs. Outlaw Rogues are very Roll the Bones dependent, as Roll the Bones can give you many different opportunities, be it consistent crit, more consistent damage, easy common point generation for more run-throughs, or the best one of them all, the cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction capability of True Bearing allows you to get your cooldowns that much quicker. That means not only are you getting your bursts lined up a lot more often, but also your defensives lined up a lot more often. So in the past, when you had a caster cleave of sorts, or a wizard cleave, where it was two different casters, let's say we take a frost mage and a shadow priest and a resto druid in a combination, they would basically force a trinket and a cloak out of the rogue, and once all the cooldowns are down, there's not a lot you can do. But as an Outlaw Rogue, you can have a cloak available every time the enemy goes, depending on how often you reroll your buffs, and whenever you can take advantage of the buffs that you are given once you get the right buffs. So that's probably what you should be doing as an Outlaw Rogue, is rerolling buffs and taking advantage of whichever buffs you are given for different situations. That is, I can't stress that enough, to be honest. Roll those bones whenever you're not going for lineups, because you have a lot of downtime, about 30 seconds worth, so you might as well do it. I want to say a little bit about Killing Spree, and way back in the day I used to use Killing Spree as like the all-in ability, but somebody on the stream asked me, hey, why don't you use this Killing Spree whenever you're down on energy or can't really use any big cooldowns in order to force pressure, and I started doing so. As an Outlaw Rogue, when you don't have the whole red insight debuff mechanic, you no longer have this red buff mechanic, so you can't really increase the damage of your Killing Spree to be that much higher. The only thing you can do is roll a crit buff and then hope for the best. So I feel like the best way of going about with Killing Spree these days, you can technically use it on a target when you don't have the capability for burst in order to force trinkets without losing too big of a cooldown. Also, one of the things that Killing Spree does now is it takes you back to the location where you started, which is actually on one hand is pretty bad because you're only thinking of chasing the target, but it can also work out in your favor. Let's say when you are chasing a healer and he's pushing behind the pillar where the other DPS are trying to get a lineup on you, so you would LOS your healer. If you are stunned, CC'd, or your Killing Spree ends by the end of it, you'll go back to where you were. And in most cases, if you can start in a safe area, then it's usually easier, much easier, in order to line up any kind of I guess safety net in the future. Make sure to line up all of your abilities needed for damage. That means get your Ghostly Strike available before, get Tricks of the Trade available, and get a cooldown, be it Plunder, Armory, Killing Spree, or Adrenaline Rush, in order to force trinkets out of enemies and possibly score a kill. When you play Subtlety in the past, then Outlaw will seem pretty familiar because Outlaw is one of the specs that's still all about lineups. Subtlety for the longest time has been all about getting lineups and getting all your buffs together and watching out for procs, watching out for just a lot of things. It's a plethora of things to, I guess, keep in mind when you're playing the spec. So Outlaw Rogue is not that much different, and you basically will get a similar experience. So when you're thinking of it as that way, and if you had experience before as a Subtlety Rogue with all the lineups, then playing an Outlaw Rogue will be a little bit easier when you have that kind of mechanic. Solo swaps onto healers is something Outlaw is really strong in, and I've had some real successful solo swaps to healers. So say you have a healer that's trinketed and he's behind the pillar. As an Outlaw Rogue, you currently have the burst needed literally at a moment's notice once you line up all your cooldowns together without even having the best roll the bones buff to solo a healer, be it a druid, paladin, disc priest, or even a mistweaver. And it's just very effective, so be on the lookout for that in general. Also, leading and positioning. You are the character that's setting up the kills. As an Outlaw Rogue, you are lining up some of the CC, whether it be on a healer or on DPS, and you are trying to line up kills the whole time. So you should be spearheading the whole operation. Some of the effective classes that play well with an Outlaw Rogue are Warlocks, Paladins, Mages, Hunters, technically almost any class, since you can take a CC heavy approach with an Outlaw Rogue or a straight up damage heavy for some melee cleaves. You're pretty versatile as a spec. And I think this is everything I have for you guys in terms of what I've learned so far from arenas, be it about Subtlety Rogues or about Assassination or about Rogue that I've been playing a lot of, Outlaw Rogues. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys if you are starting to push arenas, whether it be 2s or 3s, and you're waiting to get yourself some kind of a competent rating. And hopefully some of these tips have been helpful in order for you to strategize better and how to play your spec and how to approach each different situation when it comes to arenas. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. My name is Dalaran, and as usual, I'll see you guys in the next video.